Hey you! Get over here! Mortal Kombat! Released on HBO Max in 2021 and is directed by Simon McQuad, who is making his feature film directorial debut with Mortal Kombat! And this movie is starring Louis Tan, Jessica McNamee, Josh Lawson, Hananabu Asano, Akkad Brooks, Ludi Lin, Shin Han, Joe Taslim, and Hiroyuki Sanada. The Realm of Outworld has defeated Earthrealm in 9 of 10 deathmatch tournaments called Mortal Kombat! And has every intention of conquering Earthrealm. However, an ancient prophecy is uncovered stating that the blood of Hanzo Hanashi will unite a new generation of Earthrealm champions to prevent Outworld's victory. So the movie becomes a combatant back and forth between Sangshun warriors of Melina, Cabal, Goro, and Sub-Zero versus Lord Raiden's group of ragtag heroes Sonya Blade, Kano, Jax, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and a newcomer to the whole Mortal Kombat universe, Cole Young. And it's one big fighting back and forth dueling for the survival of Earth and tournaments, fighting and blood, cause... Unfortunately, that description of mine made as much sense as this movie did. Now, my credibility when it comes to Mortal Kombat and reviewing Mortal Kombat is 0%. I have no credibility with this. I've recently discovered that I was a very sheltered child growing up, and I never had these martial arts combat fighting games, playing them or even watching the movies back in the 90s. Even though I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan and a Power Rangers fan, I guess those were kiddie enough for me to watch, but I never got to the adult stuff with Mortal Kombat video games or the movies. I only recently saw the original 1995 Mortal Kombat movie a couple of years ago, so I'm going into this as almost a total newcomer to the whole Mortal Kombat lore and history that it has. And I'm pretty sure it has a vast history. I had my wife along with me while watching this movie, and she was able to point out who was who and who she was hoping was in the movie. Really, she was saying, Melina better be in this movie, and of course she was. But she's pointing out this character, saying like, oh, that's what they're doing with him. Oh, that's cool. Or, wow, she is perfect casting for Sonya Blade. And all of it is... It's basically like how I talk about Star Wars and DC and Marvel to other people that are outside of those realms. It just goes over their heads. That's what was happening here with me. She's stating all these names and what they did in the games, and I'm like, no clue. And then I tried for the rest of the almost 2 hours of this film trying to, what's the word, care about any of this. And I just didn't. The story structure, the character development are all just surface level here. I'm the character who's been researching this entire thing, and I don't even get a full chance of getting my chi or my superpower until the very end. I'm the big muscle man who has my arms ripped off. Huh! And I just like being beat up because I can take it, because I'm tough. And one note, we don't go deeper into anything, we don't dive deeper into relationships with families. I'll even throw that under the whole opening of this film with what happens, with the tragedy that happens to Scorpion and his wife and his child. That is pretty heartbreaking on paper, but then you see it play out and you go, yeah, I mean, everything was really happy and really going well, and he takes the time to say to his wife that, oh, I'm so grateful to be with you. Therefore, you know she's gonna die in like the next 2 minutes. Spoiler alert, she did. And that's not really a spoiler alert. Mortal Kombat released the first 7 minutes of this movie online just to get everyone prepped for it, so... You know, at me all you want, but I don't care. But every action that these characters take and every destination that these characters go to, it's all... The reasoning is just because. When typically you're creating a script and you're trying to move your characters along from point A to point B, you try to find something in somewhere in there as to what is driving this character from point A to point B. But here it's just really like, well, they're characters, so here and then there, and then here we go, and there's a tournament. which there's really not. What is it with Mortal Kombat movies saying, hey, there's a great tournament that everyone needs to compete in to save the planet, to save the world, and yet not a single Mortal Kombat movie has an actual tournament. Or at least they start doing a tournament, but then the tournament gets all like, nope, we're not doing that. We're just gonna do an all-out battle royale, Royal Rumble type thing. Why is that? This movie did have some really cool and really awesome parts, really when it came to all of the fatalities that you see in this film. They're not hiding behind anything. This movie is rated R, and there is a reason for it. There is blood, there is guts, there are people literally being sawed in half, arms being ripped off. This film is very graphic, and it's really cool to see, because I know that's the big thing in the Mortal Kombat games. You have people ripping spines out of people's backs with their fatalities and combos and shit. So all the set dressing, all the visual effects, God, they look really cool. But like I've always said on my channel, if you don't have the core plot, and if you don't have the core characters to get me to care about that, all of that set dressing is just going to be that. It's cool. It's cool to look at, but I don't care. I guess I'm confused as to why this is a movie. When I'm thinking Mortal Kombat, I am thinking tournament. You start from the very first round, and then you fight and fight and fight until you get to the final battle. And then whoever wins that wins Mortal Kombat, wins the tournament. So shouldn't we have that if you're going to be adapting that game to the big screen? That's a lot to cover in a movie, so why not make this a TV series? Why not make this a streaming series on HBO Max? That's one of the things that Dragon Ball Z is known for. The cartoon for an entire season would deal with a tournament, and you would have people squaring off, and they would move on to the next round, to the quarterfinals, to the semifinals, to the finals. If you have a streaming service, if you have it over several different episodes, you can take your time, build up these characters, and build up this tournament, as opposed to shoving it all in an under 2-hour movie. Yes, I know that there's a cliffhanger here that's going to lead to Mortal Kombat 2, and I think eventually to 3. I think they want to make this a trilogy. But come on, as long as you give me the tournament, I guess I'll be into it, but if you're not, what's the point here? Plus, I also don't know why this Cole Young character even exists. You have already established characters in the entire lore, and from what I understand, Cole Young is completely new and was just generated for this movie. Why? And his superpower, his chi that he unlocks, is just this gold suit of armor. I want to say it's a suit. At first I thought, is it his skin that's turning gold and hard? I don't think so, and if it is, shame on the costume department and the visual effects department, because there's a moment where Cole Young goes in for a big family hug, and you can see in the back his suit, his gold suit, folding up over itself. And if it's supposed to be this really hard metal suit, I mean, that's some like 80s, early 90s type costuming malfunctions that would have been acceptable back then. Here in 2021, So I'm going to say it's a suit of armor that he gets when he opens up his inner Katai or whatever it is. I just pulled those words out of thin air. I don't know. This movie had some really cool parts. I think Kano was like the standout out of everyone. He was the most enjoyable, because he seemed like he was having the most fun with his lines. I guess he had the more fun character to play out, but without him, this movie would have been a serious like half a Blu-ray. With him and the cool visual effects, yeah, I can see it increasing it, but I'm not recommending this movie to really anyone, because I could see someone not ever watching this movie and their lives going on perfectly fine and perfectly normal without ever knowing that this movie exists. I'm going to give Mortal Kombat 2 out of 5 Blu-rays. Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos, where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next, and we are actually upon May in 2021, which is actually very creepy and very scary of how fast this year is already going by. We're almost halfway through the year. But May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and I received a recommendation from Craig Dreham over at Bloodhound Picks podcast and his YouTube channel. If you can, go over there and give him a subscription. But he recommended the Lars von Trier Depression trilogy, and I thought, well, with it being May and it being National Mental Health Awareness Month, that is the perfect time to talk about something in regards to depression. And Lars von Trier, I've heard of his name before, and I've heard of these movies in this trilogy, but I have never watched any single one of them. And first up is a movie by the name of Antichrist. Okay. Starring Willem Dafoe, and I can only assume that he becomes satanic and just creepy as hell. I do remember seeing an article somewhere about how Willem Dafoe was willing to go full frontal for this film, and he did. And then they said, like, oh, well, we'll get a stunt double in for that because his manhood was disturbing. I don't know what that means, but I can only assume that it means that he is the walking Antichrist on this planet. I don't know. But we'll check out the Depression trilogy and Antichrist next time. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can leave a recommendation below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter, leave your recommendation there, and if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout on the channel. And if you want me to do your recommendation as quickly as I possibly can and bypass the whole random generator that I have here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do, just attach your movie with the donation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it and publish my review of it as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, have you seen the new Mortal Kombat? What did you think about it? How does it compare to the 1995 Mortal Kombat version? Do you prefer one over the other? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you'll know the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Antichrist. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.